in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Geek Talk MD with Moses and Dave for this episode 16.
That sounds good.
I am so silly. I can't help myself.
That's one of your toys that's actually useful. Cool. So today's topic:
comic books.
Yay!
I love comics.
Yeah, yes you do. And we have guests.
Indeed, we do. Who do we have, Dave? We have.
Go.
Oh, the mighty.
God, it's good that you know the Spanish.
The mighty Nicholas.
And the supersonic Jonah.
Hey! Hi, guys.
Yay!
Hey.
And there was much rejoicing. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Good. We're going to have a fun episode, something that lots of the people listening will know a lot about. And even if you're not a geek or a nerd or whatever you want to call yourselves, everyone has had some exposure to comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Having a second childhood there, Dave. I noticed your voice just broke.
I'm getting excited. I'm getting like a little schoolgirl.
Okay, I didn't need that mental picture.
Cool.
For those of you who are wondering, Dave in a Catholic school
No,
girl's
stop!
uniform
No!
with
Don't need the picture.
pigtails.
Stop!
I prefer Japanese.
La.
I prefer
Oh yeah,
Japanese.
Oh yeah. So the Sailor Fuku, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Easy now, boys.
What would you call him? Sailor what?
Keep it clean.
Sailor Second Moon.
Second, I can do that. Second moon, blue moon.
Blue Moon. Yeah, Sailor Blue Moon. That's the one.
Okay. We got a lot of stuff to cover. So, comic books.
Comic books, yeah.
So, how'd they start? You were around when they started, Mo.
To be perfectly honest, I can't say for certain. I'm not really sure about that. I do know that before there were comic books, there were comic strips in the newspapers.
Yes, that's right.
And one of the earliest, if not the earliest, was the Katzenjammer Kids, which was a German strip.
Oh, really?
One of the earliest American strips and one of the most popular was, if I'm not mistaken... Sorry?
Garfield.
No. Was Little Abner.
Oh, really? I thought it was Betty Boo.
No, she was. I don't think she was a comic strip. She went straight out of animation.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But
for comic books,
comic books started out as, if I'm not mistaken, the actual comic books was something that got picked up from pulp magazines, where they'd actually do like short stories, like the old Conan the Barbarian stories were originally written in pulp magazines. And maybe they'd have like an illustration or two here and there. Right. And then after a while it just picked up from there, having like the whole story be illustrated.
Yeah. But then, definitely the popularity and growth of, as far as I'm concerned, the number first numero uno Superman.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, the really big thing, like the thing that really made comic books take off to begin with was during World War II, and it would have been Captain America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Captain America.
There you go.
Who knew?
Although, yes, Superman was a big deal, but believe it or not, there was another character very similar to Superman who was, for quite some time, far more popular. Shazam.
That's true. Yeah.
Shazam.
Wasn't he called
Formerly
Captain
known
Marvel?
That's right. He was formerly known as Captain Marvel, but there's been this huge legal dispute between Marvel Comics and DC Comics over who owns the name to Captain Marvel, because it's Marvel Comics, and they also have a Captain Marvel character.
Well,
Several different Captain Marvel characters, actually.
Yeah. The important thing is Marvel won and DC had to change it to Shazam, and honestly, I kind of prefer the name Shazam.
Although I do prefer Shazam as well, although I've noticed in a couple of cartoons recently they tried out the name Captain Thunder, which really
that just
sounds
sounds-
lame.
No, that doesn't work. Shazam!
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 The new Shazam is that he lost his powers and he was given them by one of a new god like Darkseid.
Oh, wow! I didn't know that. Okay, so let's go into it. I thought a good place to start for all of us, sort of to break the ice and whatnot, would be for us to talk a little bit about, how did we get started? What was the first comic book that you remember reading, and why did you feel to read it? And
Okay, why don't you start, Dave, since you made me start because you seem to think that I'm so old when you're actually older than me. Again!
So we'll switch to Nicholas.
Yeah,
Coward.
Go get him, Nick!
Nick, go.
My friend's dad actually gave his kids the comics, and they told me about them, and they told me about the app where you can get the Marvel. So I downloaded that, and my first comic was really Captain America. And
Cool.
Now,
It goes from like the 1940s.
Cool.
What was the app?
Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel
that
actually
was
has their
called?
own
Marvel
comic
has
book
an
app.
official app. I know this because I checked the Marvel website.
There's
Disgustingly
two,
regular.
Marvel U and Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. And what does it have? Is it like a library format, or is it?
Yes.
Like
they
it has
got
It's
tons.
like every Wednesday they release the new comics
Mhm.
online, so you can like go up and they'll show you like a preview of it.
Okay. Is that how you follow it up with your comic book interest, or is that how you? Is that where
Yeah.
you read your first comic?
See, they also have a free section where it's like all free comics.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's where I downloaded my first comic.
Okay.
So you read all your comics online?
No, not all of them.
Oh, so you do actually buy some in paper format?
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
Did you do the paper format first, or was it the online app first?
Online app first.
Okay, that's
See,
cool.
That just blows my mind. I mean,
It doesn't take much.
thank you.
It doesn't.
But, I mean, just the whole idea of downloading your comic books off the internet instead of, going to the comic shop or subscribing and
Yeah.
or as
Yeah.
I started out, since I'm, you're probably going to have a point, going to the nearest variety store, or my dad going to the nearest variety store and just picking up a couple off the spin rack beside the slushy machine.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he picked up an issue of The Incredible Hulk,
Oh yeah.
and it was just so... I mean, it just really grabbed my attention. I couldn't...
Was that your first?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
it take you cherry? Your slushy cherry?
cherry flavored slate. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Well,
It
what
was-
was you, Jonah? Oh, are you still talking?
That's okay.
I
thought you were romancing about
You
slushy
can just
cherry.
cut me off. It's not
No,
like I
I'll
have
let
feelings or anything.
I'm happy to let Moses keep going.
All right, keep going. Slushy cherry.
Actually, I think it was beside the chocolate bar rack, not the slushy machine.
Chocolate cherry.
And will you stop?
Okay, so about the
And
Hulk.
and yeah, I mean just the whole Jekyll and Hyde concept. But I never. It didn't dawn on me as a kid that the Hulk was actually a bad part of him. That it was something that he couldn't stand, and the transformation and was physically painful for him, and
Yes.
just the knowledge that he was turning into this unstoppable monster was mental anguish for him. The whole idea didn't occur to me back then, but just the idea of this, being a meek, weak, bookish person being able to turn into this giant unstoppable monster was just such a cool idea to me as a kid, and I just caught my imagination.
And how about you, Jonah? What would you remember as your first comic experience?
I was looking really forward to recording this with you guys, and here's the thing with me.
Yeah.
My first comic, I got a huge tub of comics
Really?
from my uncle. My uncle collected a lot of comics when they were all Archie.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
Archie comics.
I found them and I read them all. I loved them. I still like them to this day. And it doesn't help the fact that Archie Comics now writes comic books about video games.
They heard you.
Hey,
yeah.
Archie Comics had their own line of superheroes for a little while.
They did.
Didn't they redo Archie because he died and then they just redid it?
Oh, spoiler!
No. From what I heard, it was just an anniversary thing to show how beautiful.
Actually, I can give you the definitive answer on that question, guys, because I did a couple of news articles about it. There were two different lines of Archie comics. There was the regular Archie comics, and then there was a line called Life with Archie, which was a completely different storyline. So kind of like Earth 2 in DC Comics or Elseworlds or whatever. So it was a completely different reality.
Yeah.
In the Life with Archie storyline. And they basically were going to end that storyline, that line of comics, because it wasn't doing very well. And so much like they did with Superman when... every time his circulation starts dropping, they kill him. So they killed Archie in the Life with Archie storyline. In the regular Archie comics, no, he
killed Archie.
Yeah.
The way
but they introduced a new Archie series, and it's like all new about it.
Yeah.
It's like kind of just more modern.
Yeah. Just
so
again,
is this
just a completely different reality?
Is this new Archie, like they went off to two different streams, and then in one of the streams they killed him, and now in this new
series,
it
wasn't making any money.
In the new series, is it like a total repackage, like one single repackage that they're moving forward with?
Yeah, it's total repackaging. It starts off as him moving in, and he's a new neighbor, and he's a teenager.
Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, as an interesting side note to the whole Archie storyline, they're actually creating a new Archie live-action TV series.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, and it's going to be done sort of like along the same lines as 90210. It's basically going to be it's going to be an Archie soap opera.
Oh my
Jesus
God!
If there's anything else I can add a little more about Archie.
Yes.
When it comes to the comics I read from them after I, read the Archie stuff from them, because of my fascination with Sonic the Hedgehog, they have their own line of Sonic the Hedgehog comic books that they've had since 1992.
Wow.
And I'm going to say this right now.
Yeah.
The new books are so good. They are
really
perfection. They're so well written. The art is gorgeous. They're wonderful.
Really?
I love them. But if there's one thing I can say to those who want to read the new Sonic Archie comics, get like the newest one you can.
Why?
The older Sonic Archie comics are either too too humor based. They try way too hard on humor, and because of that, it gets them so outdated.
Oh, really?
It hurts them so bad because it was 92,
right?
And those jokes aren't going to last forever.
So
and
you
then
can almost hear in the back of your mind with every gag the wah, wah, wah.
Exactly. It was unbelievable. And it was even worse considering the fact that it was based on the Sonic Sat.AM cartoon series. And that show is known for being a perfect blend of humor, dark, everything that makes Sonic great. That comic did a terrible, terrible job of keeping it all together because it was all humor. Then the comics moved to darker territory, and that's when things just got plain silly. And now I'm happy that they've actually decided to make as Sonic possible.
Oh.
Okay, so now that Jonah's happy.
Very happy. In the pants.
Started, when I mentioned before, I couldn't really afford to get comics, so I would liberate a comic here and there. And at the time,
thief.
At the time, Justice League was the easiest to grab, literally. So the first few that I started reading were Justice League, and I found it interesting because I didn't really have the context of the various characters beforehand. And so, here's this group of super people, all sort of pushing their egos out and up and so forth. And I found it kind of humorous to me because, I didn't have a lot of exposure to different superheroes and so forth outside of what I would see on TV, like Iron Man and stuff that we've talked about before.
Oh, yeah.
So, here Well, yeah, but so here's something I can actually understand. But it's these super people acting like children, fighting over, who's in charge of what and who's going to do what mission and this type of thing. And I thought it was actually kind of humorous to find out about. And as I got the book and I was reading through it and so forth, and so I had a neighbor and he had a comic book collection, and he was asking me, did you see this power from this guy? And I would say, well, no, they didn't actually mention it yet in the comic book. Can he really do that? So it sort of started me in my comic book geekdom when I was talking with this neighbor who actually knew stuff about some of the heroes, and some, these heroes actually have a backstory, and the backstory is actually quite complicated. So it started getting me interested in certain characters. Now, that being said, I said, I'm not a huge fan of omnipotent characters, so Superman wasn't necessarily my favorite. But I did start getting a fascination for Batman a little bit because of his backstory. So I started liberating Batman comic books. And that's sort of what got me going in that direction. That, wow, this is some real history. But we didn't have the internet, so I couldn't go look it up we didn't have apps, so I couldn't just read up on all the stuff that I missed. So
that's true.
I had to ask around about people that knew Batman, and how did such and such happen, and who's such and such, and that's sort of how that kind of stuff started for me. But yeah, I used to have the comic book stuffed in my back pocket. Which now would have been worth me, in mint condition, probably hundreds of dollars. But
yeah, but stuffed in your back pocket, that's it. It's already foxed.
Well, yeah, but we weren't thinking about that back then, right?
No, we were. Oh God, if I still had some of the first comics I had, that my dad got me. Oh my Lord.
Well, and we're, aside from reading the content, you're wondering if those X-ray glasses would actually work.
Oh yeah,
and how big would those sea monkeys grow?
Yeah,
and so I so believed that like the X-ray glasses worked, and the joy buzzer, that it actually gave people people an electric shock, and then I finally was able to buy one.
Oh,
and they're pathetic. They're so sad.
Going back to if you still own the comic books that you had way back when, you should see my dad. He is so bitter because when he left where he lived, his mother still has it to this day apparently, and that scares me. Was a what's it called? With nothing but my father's old comic books, and my father collected a lot way back in his day.
Yeah. So she won't let him have it back?
What?
She won't let him have it back?
We live far, far away.
Yeah, he was originally from California, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
She still has the locker.
Great.
And she says that if we ever get there, we can take all of it.
See, that's worth a trip.
Just
what?
keep in mind some of those storage lockers, especially the older ones, are kind of damp. So
well, you guys are gonna kick yourself if you see that locker come up on Storage Wars.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I would be so pissed. No, the best part is, one of the comics my dad wanted to get was an old issue of Daredevil, because my dad actually had his letter published in it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
And do you know what the best part is?
What?
We went to a convention recently, and we found that very comic. We read it. We found his letter.
Oh, that's so cool.
We found his letter, and the best part is that the guy who owned the store there at the convention said, "I'll give you a discount for this comic just because your letter is in it."
That is awesome.
It is.
Very cool. And
he has it hidden in his bedroom now. And whenever he wants to remind me how
hidden
awesome
from the
he
cats?
is, he'll show me. He'll say, "Okay, you can read it, but don't damage it."
Put on the gloves.
Yeah, you got to put on the gloves.
Pretty much.
My grandpa his uncle got all the comics, and he had given it to my grandpa. He had the original Batman, the original Superman.
What?
Not taken out of the case or anything, because my grandpa didn't like comics.
Oh my goodness!
And they're given from his cousin who doesn't want them. My grandpa threw them out.
Oh, killer! Well, you know what? That's what happened to a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
People that didn't know or didn't appreciate them, and they sort of got rid of them. I mean, I have boxes too, but the ones that really end up being of value, aside from the big names, are when first appearances occur of certain characters, and that could happen midstream in a series. You could see some new character appear in episode 30-something. And there's no way, someone, if you see a number 1, you may have that natural instinct that, oh, maybe this might be worth something at some point. But who's going to keep number 38 of 600 or
the very first appearance of Wolverine is in an issue of the Hulk. The very first appearance of the Punisher
number 180
is in an issue of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The first appearance of Deadpool is in the
New Mutants 98.
Yeah.
New Mutants 98. And you would not believe how angry I got when my dad was buying boxes of comic books for me, and we found that the person who gave us these boxes of comic books had New Mutants in it. And I was searching through all of it. I was like, New Mutants 90, New Mutants 90, New Mutants 91, 92, 94. And when I finally reached it, I was like, there's 98. They didn't have 98.
Killer.
You could see that one coming.
But I was so upset. It drove me.
Okay, but moving on before Jonah starts singing a funeral dirge. What was Dave? What was it about the comic book that got you interested in starting to read other stuff?
Well, part of it was that, as we said in past episodes, I'm not a huge reader, but the thing. So this was really my first real opportunity to read. Sci-fi fantasy, for, in all intents and purposes. So here's these guys with powers. I've heard about them on certain TV shows and, comics and like on TV. But, these guys actually have a little bit more depth because, when you're watching them on TV, they're 30 minutes plus commercials. So there's not much depth with regards to the characters. Whereas in the comic books, you could actually learn about, oh, this is such and such parents and they did this. And, you could really learn about more than just that these guys have powers. They actually have had lives, and learning about that, opened up new opportunities for different types of conversation that weren't because of the area that we grew up in. It was a good opportunity to escape all that through the comic books.
Yeah.
Right. And how about you, John? Did you find the same thing when you're reading the Archies? Like what was it about the Archies that kept you pushing forward?
In Archie's case, I was very young when I first started reading. Like, very young. I still appreciated them, and occasionally there were jokes that I wouldn't get, but that's fine. What really got me to start reading other comics, though, was when my father started learning that I was reading comics. He brought up his love for Marvel, and what really, though, that's not what got me into Marvel. What did was when I was probably younger than my youngest brother, he got a game for me called Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I owe that game to all of my love for Marvel, and it specifically focuses on the one thing that I love best about Marvel, and that's its extensive universe.
Right, yes.
Because the whole idea of the game is that you take any four characters of the humongous lineup of characters that they gave you, and you make a team. And you can change the team whenever you want. You can switch the members. And it was absolute insanity for me. And it's how I learned about a lot of characters that most kids my age didn't even know existed. Like, who's Luke Cage? I don't know.
Power Man!
Who's Deadpool? Who's, I probably didn't even know who Iron Man was at that time. I was too young.
Blasphemy!
But I didn't know who Iron Man was, the Hulk. The only characters there who I know, and I know for certain that I knew them, was the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. And that's because of the movies.
Yeah. What, was that on?
PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360.
Cool. So that's good.
Yeah.
Time for me to go search for that game.
Yeah,
it's a good game.
After we finish the podcast, Nick.
Yeah.
It's a really good game.
Yeah. So how about you, Nick?
Me?
Yeah. What is about comics?
I just thought that I had to learn more about it because it dropped off at you're reading it and then something super shocking happens. Like they kill Captain America and to
Spoilers.
be continued.
Actually, I came across a headline the other day. I think that Captain America is alive again. Shock of
Yes,
shocks.
yes.
Can you hear me
Bringing him
rolling
back.
my eyes?
Yeah. Poor
Yes, actually.
Falcon. Okay, the
Oh, no,
Falcon.
Steve Rogers is alive again.
I know, but
Not-
He's
not-
been alive all this time. Except the Falcon is the new Captain America, and Captain America leads the Uncanny Avengers.
Oh,
Uncanny
interesting.
Avengers?
you don't know about the Uncanny
I
Avengers.
thought it was the Uncanny X-Men.
We'll get down.
No.
We'll get into them after.
Uncanny-
We'll get into them after. We'll get into after.
Okay.
Okay. But no. So that's really what got you. It's cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cool.
It just kept dragging me on and on until I just couldn't stop reading.
But you're a big reader though. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How about you, Mo?
Well,
If you can remember that back before.
considering how big a reader I am now, it's kind of surprising to me to realize that it wasn't the actual stories, characters, or the dialogue or anything like that. It was just the artwork and the action. My strongest memory of that issue is the Hulk picking up a tank by its cannon.
Yeah.
And just lifting it up in the air and slamming the tank back down onto the ground while yelling out, "Hulk is the strongest one there is," and the tank just disintegrating from the impact. And, the big sound effect word, like kaslam or something like that.
Yeah.
And, that was just, and it took up a whole page.
Yeah.
It was just so cool, and, ooh.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm an arts guy, so I one thing that I enjoyed seeing is the evolution of art through the comics.
Oh, my
The
God,
comics
yes.
used to be, each had to be in their box, and to be a real rebel, they might draw like an arm just outside the box. But nowadays, comic, the concept of the box is right out the window. You have overlap, you've got, image over image, you've got, the concept of the box is pretty much gone.
Or
But-
if you're looking at Deadpool, Jonah, the
And Nick,
whole idea that he actually realizes, let's put it properly.
Deadpool.
He's so
Actually,
insane
Deadpool
that he
broke the fourth
believes that
wall.
he's in a comic book and he's talking to the reader.
That goes beyond just that. Even in the video games, he
Yeah.
knows that he's in a video game.
And apparently
one of
in
my-
the movie, he's also doing that.
He knows he's in a
Yeah,
movie.
it's because he had the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics. He collected the Infinity Gauntlet so he could gather all the Marvel characters to roast them, which he was okay with. But something happened that he realized that there's people watching him, and that's how he became like super depressed. But he put on a show
yeah.
because he knows that people are watching him.
Oh, is that how this whole, self-awareness came about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, She-Hulk just happens to know that she's in a comic book.
Oh, they did that in She-Hulk first. That's right.
It's true.
Oh,
And I love She-Hulk, and I love She-Hulk for kicking Wade in the face every now and then, because sometimes...
Yeah, but let's face it,
think-
She-Hulk was
I
hot.
think it's because
She-Hulk
of
is
all the
awesome.
powers
Oh, she's
she
hot. Wow.
boasts.
Sorry, what were you saying, Nick, before
I
Moses
think
rudely
that-
interrupted?
I think that She-Hulk, the Hulk and Deadpool,
Yeah.
like the Hulk could break the fourth wall also
Yeah.
because he could see ghosts. That's part of his gamma radiation.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's
I
how
didn't know the
that's how
secret.
Doctor Strange gets Thor and Silver Surfer and the Hulk all together for the Defenders.
Uh-huh.
That's how he collects them all.
Oh.
He sends his astral spirit form to
His
tell
astral projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he can see astral projection and the ghosts.
Cool. That's amazing.
Hulk see dead people.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what we need. Bruce Willis is the next Hulk.
Or M. Night Shyamalan directing it. Or however you pronounce the guy's name.
Yeah,
they
but
make
Hulk
good-
can. Little known fact about Hulk: he can breathe underwater and in space.
That's true.
What?
Yeah, he can.
He has a special gland because when he was radiated.
Although, for some reason, very early on, in a Silver Surfer storyline, the Silver Surfer tries to steal the Hulk's power in order to break free from the barrier that Galactus put around the Earth to trap him there. And in that version of the story, the Hulk isn't able to breathe in space for some reason. And,
Continuity!
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
And so the Silver Surfer, even though he breaks free from the Galactus' barrier, he then realizes that the Hulk's going to die, and his conscience just won't let him kill the Hulk, or Banner in that case. And so he has to go back and remain trapped.
But what I think is with the new Hulk movie, the Scarlet Witch actually lets him access his seeing dead people power.
Oh.
That's when he goes on a rampage.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Wait, what?
Cool.
Wait, what?
So
Makes total sense, doesn't it?
Wait, what?
Yeah, when the Scarlet Witch makes everybody hallucinate.
When she messes with their heads?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I seem to remember reading in one interview with Mark Ruffalo, the guy that played Banner and the Hulk in the motion capture, that what the Hulk was actually seeing was Banner.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
the one thing Hulk hates more than anything else is Banner.
Banner.
And so...
That's surprising.
Yeah, he was hallucinating that Banner was in his face.
It's interesting because they didn't really play that up, unlike, they played up everyone else's
Well, they do mention
images.
briefly later on in the same movie when when Tony Stark when Iron Man is fighting him, and he says, he keeps calling him Dr. Banner, and then all of a sudden the Hulk gets angry and he says, "Oh yeah, right, don't mention Banner."
Yeah.
Anyway, that's about the movie. Focusing, coming back to the comics.
Oh yeah, no,
Yes.
they
So-
in every version of the Hulk, they bring it up at some point in the old TV series, in the comics. Yeah,
Cool.
Puny Banner,
Cool.
Puny Banner.
So I mean, you started off with the comics that you first had, and then you switched into a different series or a different title. Which titles did you find your next most interesting, Will?
Oh, me? It was Iron Man #4, Unconquered is the Unicorn. I still have that issue,
Sometimes
although it's in
Jesus.
horrible
Nice.
condition. And I mean, it was just the whole thing, just the name, the title, Iron Man, just jumped out at me, and I didn't, the costume, the costume, that body armor and everything, it just looks so cool. Then you open it up, and you see Tony Stark, and he's just, just like the song in the old cartoon went, he's the coolest cat. I mean, he's wearing this, perfectly tailored suit. He's got that, Errol Flynn mustache. I mean, and there's women hanging off of him.
I mean, of all the heroes, he sort of has that dream lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
He's like ridiculously rich. He's ridiculous with the women and with business and technology.
Yes.
And he's got this kick-ass armor that he built himself. I mean,
Yeah, but that's what I like about Marvel heroes. They're all relatable. And in Tony's case, he's a flaming drunkard.
And
he is
he's
an
a flaming
alcoholic,
drunkard.
although they're never going to actually bring... they've already said they're never going to bring that up in the movies. The closest you're going to get is that you're going to see him drinking a lot. But the definitive
but
Iron Man story about that, called Demon
Tony's
in the
a...
Bottle, is never going to get done. Even though,
No.
Meanwhile, yeah.
even though Downey would love to do it.
Well, no, that's the great thing about, the actors Marvel chose, because they all, especially in Downey's case, because Downey can relate to Tony Stark so much. It's kind of scary.
Yep,
He was made for the role.
he really was.
He is Iron Man.
The ego, the whole thing, the whole gambit. He really plays
Well, and also the fallout, I guess you could say.
it. Yeah. How about you, Nick? What did you transition into?
Well, I transitioned into an Iron Man, and then I went on to an X-Men, and then I went on to a Deadpool, and just kept going through Deadpool.
Once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah. Is that the same for you, Jonah? Deadpool? Started with Archie.
Yeah, and then I got to Marvel thanks to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but well, my thing was I was into everything. I didn't really have a necessary thing that I didn't like, and when I was very young, I watched a lot of TV, so I saw a lot of cartoon shows, and my favorite cartoon channel at the time was Cartoon Network, and I still love Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Network is property of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns DC Comics, so they have DC Comic cartoon shows.
Yeah.
And I remember especially liking, Justice League and Teen Titans, and I still love the Justice League and the Teen Titans.
They're bringing
Teen
it back.
Titans a little more. What?
They're bringing back the Justice League cartoon.
I saw those. They look interesting.
Yeah, and Mark Hamill as the Joker is back, and
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy's Batman is back.
I love Kevin Conroy.
Oh, yes.
Wait, but you're talking about for the TV show?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about comic books, man. Get back on topic.
But he mentioned that he was.
Yeah.
Back on topic.
Keep up, Dave.
Yeah. After seeing those cartoons, I got into reading some of them, and I learned a lot about a lot of characters, and I even learned about my dad's only DC superhero that he likes, because my dad doesn't like DC. He doesn't.
Who is this?
Not even Batman.
Not even Batman.
Oh,
no,
for shame.
He likes Firestorm.
Oh, the Nuclear Man.
Firestorm.
Interesting.
I like Firestorm. After doing my research, I think he's a really cool character, and I see him in the cartoon shows every now and then.
Yeah,
and he's also in the new Legends of Tomorrow series.
That's right.
Yes, he is.
That came from Flash, right? But
well, actually, it started with Green Arrow and then went from there. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Green Arrow, Flash.
Is that true for the comics too, or is that just strictly from the TV show?
I think that's something strictly from the TV show.
Yeah, I think so too. Cool.
But Firestorm's cool.
Cool.
Okay, so let's moving on. So let's talk about what our favorites are.
Sure. Let's see. Well, part of it is I never had a hankering for omnipotent characters. So the more relatable they were, the more I enjoyed them when I was reading them. So I found that I liked the Spider-Man character at the time, because where he was a super genius, his life issues were almost relatable. He was a nerdy kid. He liked this girl. He was trying to do these things, and then suddenly he comes across these powers, and how is he going to deal with this? And at first, his thought process was just to hide them because it's not natural. And I thought that was very interesting, because
there's also the fact that when he first got them, he tried to use them for money.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, when he saw what he could actually really do, right? But the first concept was to hide them, and then I can make some money off of this, and the family needs money, and I need money, so
also a constant storyline that Aunt May is always on the verge of either dying or being kicked out of her house.
Yeah. So again, that's all stuff that I could relate to at the time. So I found that wow, if I had powers, could I really do that myself, kind of thing? When I'm small, is that really what I would do? And I used to think, wow, it took him so long to get to the concept of using it for money. I would have used it for money right off the get-go. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
You bring a small thing that you brought up that I especially like. I like superheroes who aren't like terribly muscular. I like the shrimpy guys. I like the little guys. I'm the underdog type of hero, and I like the heroes who don't have to strut their stuff.
Yeah.
Then why do you like Deadpool?
If
there's any one superhero that's the definition of strut.
What? Well, no. I like superheroes who can't. I love heroes who have egos, but I love heroes who, they may have egos and they may be very silly. They may make quips and all that kind of stuff. They're not, people are going to make fun of them for how they look, It's an interesting thing, when you got shrimpier heroes, because people are going to make fun of them for it, like Spider-Man. Yep. Nobody took all the villains Spidey fought when he was younger. They made fun of him for his size, the itsy bitsy spider, because he's tiny.
Yeah.
Peter was always called a runt.
Peter was 16 years old. He was a small guy. Wolverine is a very short guy.
Yeah, for anybody who hasn't read the comic books and only has seen the movie, Wolverine is not 6 feet tall. He's 5 foot nothing.
5'4". 5'4".
I can pull it up right now. I haven't.
That's okay.
Meanwhile, Puck of Alpha Flight.
Alpha Flight. That's who I was going to think of. Yep.
Puck of Alpha Flight is only like 3 feet tall, maybe shorter.
Yep.
Puck is tiny.
Yep. And there's there are quite a few smaller heroes. Not just because of their powers, but that can really kick some butt.
I love my underdogs.
Yeah. How about you, Nicholas?
Do you love Underdog?
Me?
What?
Yeah.
Underdog takes drugs. I'm not cool.
What?
Oh.
My favorite character?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of hard because there's so many awesome characters out there.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like
we
the
have
top
one
three-
obvious choice.
My top 3 would probably be like Deadpool, Drax,
Yeah.
and Captain America. New Captain America.
Oh, new, not old.
Yeah, I like Falcon more.
Oh, okay, interesting, cool. So you're saying about some of the characters that you liked and or hated, and you were saying one of the ones that you were liking was the Uncanny Avengers?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of like regular superheroes, mutants, and Inhumans. And it talks about because Black Bolt, he unleashed the Terrigen Mists onto the world, and it's poisoning the mutants.
Oh, okay.
So right now in the comics, they moved all the mutants into limbo.
Okay.
Because of
Hey, everybody
magic?
limbo.
like Magic's dimension.
Right.
So they moved everybody in the mutants there
Uh-huh.
to protect them from the Terrigen Mists, except Rogue. She stays back with the Inhumans and the mutants. Deadpool's the only one that protects himself from the Terrigen Mists because he heals.
Right.
Well, in that case, Wolverine would be fine too.
No, because Wolverine lost his healing factor and he's dead now.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, spoiler!
What? He's covered in... excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he covered in like a pile of adamantium?
Yep.
He'll be back.
Died
Like liquid...
He'll be
he died
back.
because he was
Oh,
he died
definitely.
because he was covered in molten adamantium.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's
funny.
not, I don't think that he's dead. It's more like he's trapped.
He's trapped.
He's
No, he
pining for the
died.
fjords. He's pining for the fjords.
Suffocated to death.
What? If Deadpool's healing factor, if Wolverine's
Okay,
healing factor...
moving on!
Wait, no, real quick. If
No.
Wolverine's healing factor can save him from a nuclear bomb that wiped out every single part of his body, his skeleton...
Yeah, and a volcanic eruption, yes.
Yes, same goes for Deadpool. I don't see why he would die of suffocation by being covered in a pile of molten adamantium. He'll be back
He
in
lost
2
his healing factor.
He'll be back in 2
He'll be back.
Well,
He'll
we'll
be
have
back in 2 months.
when and if this happens, we'll have to do another episode. But
I bet you that as soon as this is uploaded, he's back.
I guarantee...
Just to spite you.
At the absolute latest, a month before the next Wolverine movie comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So,
Guess
Nick,
what?
what were you saying?
Yeah, his clone daughter, X-23.
X-23.
She takes
Laura.
over. She takes over the Wolverine mantle.
Whatever happened to Dakin?
Dakin?
Dakin.
He died because he got hooked.
Oh,
on
man, they're dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies. Whatever happened?
They all come back.
Back when I was a kid, Wolverines used to live a lot longer.
Yeah, I know.
They'll all come back. I mean, I remember years
They're
ago...
like boomerangs.
They definitively killed the Marvel version of Captain Marvel. They even did a massive... graphic novel storyline, The Death of Captain Marvel, and they put out a release saying, there are other characters that they'll die and they'll come back. Captain Marvel will stay dead. And sure enough, about 15, 20 years later, they brought him back. So,
Yeah, but that's how it goes. You gotta revive some of these characters because you got a whole new generation that didn't necessarily know them, and this is an opportunity to get them to know them again.
yeah.
It's funny, Nick, when you were talking about the Inhumans, because the Inhumans I had followed when I was younger, but then they sort of disappeared, and it was hard to find anything about them anymore. But I used to like those characters too. The Bolt and Lockjaw, and
Medusa.
You mean property
Medusa.
of the thing?
Sorry?
Lockjaw is the thing's pet dog.
Yeah.
Is the Thing still alive?
Oh,
Yeah, with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wait, what?
Okay, let's not go there. Dave, what are your favorite characters?
Okay. Well, I mean, as you go through it, I mean, like I said, I liked the Spider-Man and so forth, and more relatable characters. Characters like Fantastic Four with the omnipotence and so forth. I didn't like them. No, well, not the Fantastic Four as such, but they had Galactus and was it Reed Richards and Sue's
Mr.
son?
Fantastic. Oh, Legion. Oh no, Franklin. Yeah.
Franklin, right? So Franklin was like the super uber hero, right?
Remember when he faced the Beyonder? Bad man, go away.
Yeah, I
Oh
hated
my
all of that.
God, that
hated
was
it.
terrible.
I don't like omnipotent characters at all.
Yeah, no.
So
Or Professor X's son, Legion.
I don't remember him.
Yeah,
We are Legion.
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
he's a
right.
total nutcase.
Right. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
I was thinking of
I thought he
Soul
got cured.
Legion?
Could
Yeah.
be. For now.
Yeah, but
It's
you know,
all-
obviously Wolverine and so forth. How about you guys?
Well, for me, it was all the characters that seemed to have like more of a dark side.
Yeah.
Or a nasty side, like Batman, like the Shadow. Oh, the Shadow. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?
The Shadow comic?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
DC, for quite a while, did a Shadow comic. Marvel did a couple of graphic novels. Dark Horse.
For those who don't know, Shadow was a radio
Yeah, the Shadow started out as a radio series.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
familiar.
Voiced by none other than the great late Orson Welles.
Oh, wow.
On the radio.
Actually, no. Sorry, my mistake. It didn't start out in the radio. It started out as pulp stories, just like Conan the Barbarian in the pulp magazines, and then they made it into a radio series. But it was the radio series that catapulted it into popularity for a period.
But that was before TV, though.
Yeah, they've only ever done like. They used to do a couple of movie serials with the cliffhangers, which were absolutely awful. And then they did a movie version starring Alec Baldwin, which was even worse.
That was terrible.
Oh, God,
But
it was bad.
yeah, I didn't realize the comic got, that it got popular. I knew there was one, but I never really heard much about it.
It was popular, but it was never quite as popular as some of the other ones. There was a period when Denny O'Neil was writing it and Mike Kaluta was doing the artwork, and that was like a golden age. And then at one point they tried to update it in the 80s because it was set in the 20s and 30s, and they tried to update the storyline to the 1980s. And that was written by, oh God, I can't remember who wrote it, but the artwork for the series was done by Bill Sienkiewicz, very, very weird, surreal artwork. And instead of carrying .45 automatics, he used Ingram Mac-10 machine pistols. But it just got too weird. It got so weird that by the end of the storyline, he was Robo Shadow. He'd gotten decapitated, and they stuck his head on a robot body. But he still kept the hat.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was so stupid.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
But just the whole idea, that with all the characters that, especially with the Shadow, that there was a very dark side to him. That he wasn't just nice. That he wasn't, out for truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah.
And like Deadpool and Wolverine, he had no problem with killing.
Yeah.
In the name of justice, or in the case of Batman, while he, movies aside, while he won't, carry a gun, in The Dark Knight Returns, he does make a comment of, wasn't easy carrying 300 pounds of sociopath to the highest building in Gotham City. The scream alone is worth it. I mean, just that kind of thing,
But what about like the Punisher?
The Punisher,
Because that's like
liked
the
at first.
ultra vigilante, right?
Yeah, but he was just too over the top, and I found it was just too derivative of the old Charles Bronson Death Wish movies or the Mac Bolan Executioner books.
Yeah. Did you guys follow Punisher at all, or?
I read a little bit. I like the character, but not really the series itself.
No, what was it?
But the series itself, it just kind of got boring after a while.
Interesting. Jonah, did you follow it at all?
In my case, I followed the Punisher because of a lot of things. I don't follow the stories anymore, but when it came to why I followed it was because of my father's love for the character and
He hates Marvel. Oh no, sorry, he hates DC.
DC.
Hates
Sorry.
DC.
Sorry.
Punisher's Marvel.
Sorry.
He showed me when I was 13. He showed me the movie because he didn't want me to see
Which
it until
one?
I was old. but the good one, the first one.
The Dolph Lundgren one was the good one.
What? I'm sorry. What are? Let me see.
There's quite a few. There's
one. The first one was Dolph Lundgren, also known as I Come in Pieces.
2004.
Okay, so that's the one with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. So that's the second one.
Okay. I didn't know there was an older one.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Okay. Anyway, I love that movie so much. There's two things about it I love. One, well, I just love the character, and two, the score for that movie is so good. The music, oh my god, I love it so much.
Okay, but to the comic books.
To the comic books, the reason why I like Frank Castle so much is to be able to, go out there and, avenge what happened. Well, not even avenge, it's punishing. He said it himself.
That's true.
I find so much respect in that.
Yeah.
I'm a very passionate person, and I'm the kind of person who...
No, really?
I love... Well, when I say that, I'm more referring to, I love seeing other people and their passion and just seeing their fights, their struggles, and seeing them, come out on top in the most... And in Frank's case, it's empowering, And at the end of the day, my favorite thing is that at the end of the day, he's a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about like Venom, for example?
Venom?
Oh no!
I love Venom.
I have to agree with Sam Raimi that Venom was one of the dumbest Spider-Man villains ever put together. It was actually Spider-Man 3 ended up being such a horrible film just because Sony demanded that Raimi put Venom in the film.
We're not talking about film.
Yeah, I know, but
really
hear me out. But the thing was, he'd already announced a year before they told him to do that he would never put Venom in a Spider-Man movie because he thought it was such a dumb character. So when they forced him to do it, he basically made the worst possible movie he could imagine, just as a screw you to Sony Pictures.
Yes, but again, that was his opinion. Let's bring it back to comics, because whether or not that person liked the comic book character or not, it's his opinion, so he shouldn't have trashed anything. But what do you guys think about Venom the character?
Sucks.
From comic book.
Sucks.
For everyone else who has a good opinion.
Sucks.
I like Venom as a character. He can be handled when he's handled correctly. He can be incredibly entertaining, and one of my favorite things about early Venom is if you go back and search far enough, you can actually find comics where Venom is a good guy working with Spider-Man and being very snarky, very rude, and even betraying him every once in a while. But I like seeing Venom, be the snarky hero.
That's what I like too. I like the flavor it gave Spider-Man at the time, because I liked Spider-Man in general, but this was like naughty Spider-Man.
Exactly.
And when it first started, before it became its own real entity, and before he really identified it as such, he gave Spider-Man a new flair and of course a new suit. It gave him that naughty side, to it that I thought was very entertaining, and I really liked that.
Okay, I will agree with you. When the alien symbiote takes over as the official new Spider-Man suit, I liked the new suit.
Yeah.
I really did like the new suit. I thought it was leaps and bounds better than the original red and blue.
Yeah, for sure.
But once he takes over Eddie Brock and becomes Venom, that's when I thought, okay, this is just trash.
Nick, what were you saying?
I find Venom really stupid.
There you go.
Because
it's a tie. Venom sucks. He really, really sucks.
No.
You want me to get my dad down here?
Keep talking.
because he becomes a superhero.
Yeah.
After he does all this horrible crimes.
Okay.
Different person.
The
it's not Eddie Brock anymore.
Part is that Venom was a bully.
Yeah.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
And then Flash Thompson gets the symbiote suit, and they become a superhero.
Yeah.
So now Flash is Venom?
No, that's not fair, though, because in Flash Thompson's case, Eugene was a bully. That's completely different. In Eugene's case, Eugene fought in the Iraq War and lost his legs. He was given the Venom symbiote as a second chance. The Venom symbiote regained his legs, but they had to suppress the Venom symbiote so that it wouldn't take him over, but it also meant he didn't have as much power as Eddie did when he had it.
Ah, interesting. I didn't know that storyline.
I really like Eugene as Agent Venom because my favorite part is at the very beginning when he first gets the suit. First, he freaks out because he gets his legs back. Then you see him geeking out because, check me out, I'm Spider-Man!
With
And it's
teeth
so
and a tongue.
cute. I love it so much. Eugene is amazing, and I love him.
Okay, interesting.
Moving along.
Okay. Moving.
Yeah.
I have a question. What do you think? Have you guys seen the artwork for in May Scooby Apocalypse?
No, I haven't.
It's
What is-
it's like the Mystery Machine and the gang, the Scooby
Yeah.
gang, is caught up in like an experiment
Mhm.
where a virus turns like almost everybody into like these mutated creatures, and
Okay.
it's like a nanite virus.
Uh-oh.
And the Scooby gang has to solve like the mystery of how to fix this.
Really?
It's all really cool because it's like Scooby has like different ear style, and he's wearing like this cool new collar.
Scooby
like-
the dog has a different hairstyle?
Ear style.
Ear
he said.
style.
Oh, ear style, sorry.
Like they're perched.
He's covered with hair.
He had like round, but now he has like his ears are like pointed upwards.
Yeah.
And he has a new collar. And like
Yeah.
this cool, and the collar tells him stuff about it. And then Velma and Fred, they're like have weapons. Not
Yeah.
Velma. Daphne and Fred.
Yeah.
And they got like Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy has like he has a mustache and a beard and like all these tattoos.
Really?
He looks really hipster. And
Wow.
Velma's really, really short. Like Scooby-sized short.
Oh. So, I mean, does this
Jinkies.
take place in the same time period? Because
You think 80s Japanese.
Okay.
all right, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the writing is like, and then we can do it. We can come back on to.
It is the final breath of a Scooby-Doo, and he tightly whispered a spell.
Sugoi.
All right, moving along. How about some of these TikTok MD? You may want to actually think about that. Just wanted to make sure you knew that
There
we
was
do this
no,
thing.
just like at the previous.
Yes,
episode,
I
there was
know.
one that I had and I lost it, and for the life of me, I can't find it. And
Here,
and it's been
I'll-
driving me nuts.
Blah blah blah. So,
Do you have one?
here I'll give you even a bone. Tell us what the difference is between podcasts and what we're calling this now. As
Oh, the
Slidecast.
Slidecast. Well, for any of you, for basically all of you that are listening to this,
Listening.
realized that since we had a video component available to us, why not throw in some visual gags to go in with what we're saying, or at least some visual cues to give you an idea of what we're talking about if what we're saying is a bit vague or esoteric. And so we're showing slides of gags or of what we're talking about. So that's why we're calling it the Geek Talk Geek Talk MD. Sorry, breaking into new time. Geek Talk MD Slidecast.
Right. So
Somebody get the stroke alert.
I think so. I'm not sure if that's from excitement or it's just So yeah, so we even us we do get caught up on a little bit, but the goal here is that we're trying to coin it as Slidecast for what we do because it's not really a podcast, it's not really a video, but
No.
we do slides and sound
Yeah.
clips and things like that. So it's a
Yeah.
Slidecast for
Yeah.
all intents and purposes. So okay. So the one that I wanted to talk about for Geek Talk MD was there was some back and forth about episode 10, which was our episode on comedy.
Oh yes.
Comedy. And the problem is that on my phone, I have a Samsung Galaxy phone on TELUS plan, and every time I try to play the YouTube video from YouTube, it always says that it can't come up. It can't find
Yeah,
it.
I've heard that from quite a few people.
But then when I asked you, if it was up, you said yeah, and then you checked it on your BlackBerry, and you have a Bell
Yeah.
plan, and you could watch it on your phone, right?
Yeah, I think it's specifically a Samsung issue because I've spoken to people who have iPhones and they say it works fine.
Okay,
well.
so that's what I was wondering because I didn't know if it was working, if it was based on the phone
Yeah,
or off
it
the.
may be an Android issue.
But okay, because again, I wasn't sure if that's specific to the phone or if that's specific to the plan that people are on. But if you're using Samsung and possibly even if it's I'm not sure if other people on TELUS can watch it or not. But that's why we were having problems viewing it, and you'd have to watch it through a different device. So I just wanted to put that out there in case people were wondering why they could or could not see it.
Yes, it's not because we're incompetent.
No.
It's because your phone is crap.
No.
Professionality is something we must have heard of at least
because it's
once.
superior technology. It's
Professionality.
So anyway, that's I just wanted to put that out there because there was some question as to it working or not working. So that was episode 10. But the other episodes are working fine. I watch them when I go to work in the morning. So
Kill.
Cool. So that's what I have. Jonah, did you have any Geek Talks? Any from your past episodes that you may have listened to?
Talk back.
What did I say?
Geek Talk.
Oh, sorry. Geek Talk back.
Go by the. It's true. Professionality is something we must have.
Okay, so it is because we're incompetent. Anyways, do you have any Geek Talk back, Jonah?
What does it specifically refer to? Geek Talk back.
Just any Geek Talk back that we want to hear. If he hears the episode and he violently disagrees with our comments about Howard the Duck,
just
that's what we want
to
to
make
hear.
the point, then I think the 10 seconds, or is it only 5 seconds of appearance of Howard the Duck at the very end of Guardians of the Galaxy was a million times better than the movie Howard the Duck.
Oh.
I have thrown down the gauntlet there.
Okay.
Howard the Duck. You got to do the sound clip.
Quack.
Quack.
Cool. All right. So just to quick wrap it up, we started this in the last episode, but I realized how ill-conceived that was because telling people about what our next episode is going to be doesn't really help us, as it takes us 2 cycles to actually get the episode out there. So I decided I'm going to put down a few of the topics that we could talk about in the upcoming episodes. And so if you have questions, comments to these topics, please write us, email us, send us video clips, whatever it is. About these topics.
Yeah. Or at least pictures.
Well, whatever.
We have a problem with, but
No. I don't mean that we'll show them, but so people can give us some feedback as to talking about these. So
I still say one of these days we got to do a kung fu episode, but
yeah, okay. I mean, we can always fall back on. Or a machine gun one, I guess.
Is Jonah having a stroke?
I'm sorry, I like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, okay, so we may have to do
just
it
Bruce Lee,
Anyway, so one of the things I was thinking about was this thing, a concept like Geek Court. So what we could do is we could have people talk about their geek or nerd arguments. So why if you have Thor's hammer in an elevator. So these types of conversations I know periodically happen out there. And if you and a buddy or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a family member have had a similar argument and you want to bring it to court for us to put judgment on based on your evidence and your argument, then tell us and we'll do a whole bunch of these little clips if we can get together. And then we'll do an episode of all these different clips.
Oh man, you get my dad for the do one on Howard the Duck and get my dad.
You see, this is what we're talking about. So let him know this if you guys want to do something, and then we'll arrange a time to do a little recording. Maybe 15 minutes or whatever it takes for you guys to argue your points, and we'll give a quick little verdict. And then we'll wrap up that little piece, and then when we have enough of them, we'll string them together, and we'll make an episode out of it. So that was one concept that we had regarding a future episode. So please do contact us and let us know if you are interested and if you have ideas. Another episode that we still have in the works is a board game and miniature game system episode. We have a couple of people that are interested in being guests on that. So to talk about new board games and new and old board games, miniatures and so forth. I was also thinking about something called Geek Busters,
where Dave's going to grow a really big mustache that covers his mouth, and he's going to wear a beret and talk in a really deep voice, and I'm going to make fun of him a lot, and we're going to blow shit up.
If we switched roles, I wouldn't have to change anything. So anyway.
But I came up with the joke, so you weren't fast enough, so yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
I guess the fastest thing alive is just too goddamn slow.
The point of it, I could have already said it, you just didn't hear it. So the point of this is that we'll have things in this episode. Again, it may be a composite episode where people will contact us about things that are weird, quirky facts, fiction, and tell us what it is and give a little bit of an argument to it or points to support it. And listeners can make a decision on whether or not they think it's true or not, and then we can save the answers for the end and then clip that together. So Geek Court, Geek Busters, board games, and if there's interest, maybe even a social media cast on people that love it or hate it. And let's get you guys head to head. And let's chat about it in a future episode.
I don't know. I think my head is too pretty to be put up against any of yours.
Well, you know what? That's maybe someday we'll actually do video for an episode. That'll be a quirk too. So,
And maybe
so there we go.
We're going to do a kung fu episode.
Yeah, live action. Duh.
Oh, we're going to do real kung fu?
That's right. We'll do video.
Do I get... Okay, well, in that case, I'll be real.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. So,
Hadouken!
Geek Talk back. Upcoming episodes. What else do we have? We good?
Thank yous.
Thank yous. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. If you're
Hey, you
listening,
can still hear us out there?
Can you
It was
still
great
hear me?
having you
Hang
on.
on.
Take care.
All right.
thank you. Okay, you guys too. Bye.
Always a pleasure.
I'm always up
And
for it.
please do ask Jim to if he's interested.
Yes.
And thanks, Dave.
Thank you. And remember, people out there, we're always
Hey!
controversy. Yep.
I said thanks to Nick. I said thanks to Jonah. I said thanks to Dave. Do I get anything?
Okay, Moses, you get a blue ribbon for being here.
Bite me.
I actually did say and thank
Screw you guys.
So obviously, you
I'm going
didn't hear
home.
it because you haven't
I'm going home.
put fresh batteries in your hearing aid. So
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, once this is all over, you'll always know that I'm ready for. Oh wait, no.
No,
I
he's
can
not
be
ready for
invited.
anything. Anyway,
I can be invited for birthday parties, assassinations, black ops, and sweet 16s.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, there's another mental picture I didn't need. Anyway, that's it for
Thanks,
another
everybody.
episode of Geek Talk MD. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for participating.
I'll wrap up.
Pack up your lucky dice. Put away the Chinese food menus. We'll see you next time.
Oh my god!
Thank you very much, and good night.
Thanks everybody, and thank you, Moses.
Bye.
Bye.